Good to have you on the show, sir. So, can you first give us the basic numbers? What was the volume growth like this quarter? And was there any demonetization impact?
As experienced by our peers and many other companies, there was some impact on demand during third quarter. And like our peers, we also had an impact on our sales growth. As far as volume growth goes, volume growth was a little bit higher than our value growth.
Well, sir, so your gross margins are closer to all-time highs and input costs have increased as well. Then what can we expect on that front going ahead?
See, as you know, our gross margins have been very healthy for last few years. Raw material prices have been low. There has been some strengthening of raw material prices and which could have an impact on our margin in coming quarters. As we had said earlier that in last 2 years we had very high gross margins and such high gross margins may not be sustainable. So we do expect to see some impact.
What about the exact impact? Would you be able to quantify that impact on margins?
No, see, it would be, it would be difficult to quantify exactly what would be the impact on gross margin as it depends on multiple factors, including crude oil prices, raw material prices, and our response to these increases. So it would be difficult to quantify, but I would like to again reiterate that we had maintained during last 2 years that very high gross margins are not sustainable over long period of time. We would like to maintain a gross margin which is more consistent like what we have been achieving over a 5-year period. During that period, there could be a period of higher gross margins and more like average margins.
Well, sir, which segment was more impacted by demonetization? And also, more importantly, what's recovering faster?
So, the impact was near similar in both of them. Both of them had some decline in sales. There was not significant difference between our consumer and bazaar business or our industrial businesses. As far as coming quarter, again, it's very early in the quarter. It's only 1 month. We do see some improvement on ground, but it's very difficult at this stage to predict on what would happen in the coming quarter as compared to the third quarter.
So if you could just break down the third quarter for us, basically the sales and demand picture in individual months, because November onwards is when we had that demonetization impact. But how were the October trends, for instance?
No, we cannot break up our numbers month-wise. But if you look at quarter, like all other leading companies, all of us saw some demand impact. So, as you see in our numbers, our sales growth came down during the quarter compared to first 6 months of the year. So clearly, we had some impact on growth like many other leading companies.
Well, sir, let's move away then a tad bit from your operational performance. Your other income, that increased by more than 40%, came in at around, what, 25, 26 crores. Is that a sustainable run rate going forward?
See, part of the higher other income was due to a higher treasury income, due to the treasury that we have. And going forward, the other income also would depend on how large is our treasury and number of other factors. But overall, the other income is not a very significant part of our overall earning.
Okay, sir. And, beyond earnings, I just want to know if there's any sort of an update on a possible business regime. You were looking at hiving off certain segments, certain parts of the business. Is that plan on? Not? If you could update us.
See, as we had updated in our last annual report, we have put that project on hold for the time being. So, we have not made any capital expenditure or any significant capital expenditure in this project for last few years. We continue to explore various opportunities for this project. So the status remains same as what was reported last year, and we continue to make efforts to find a strategic solution for this project.
Well, final question then from my end. So how do you foresee industrial as well as chemicals demand going forward?
See, it's again very, very difficult to predict or forecast in terms of what would happen to economy or what would be the economic growth in coming quarters. We believe there have been some favorable measures in the budget, and we hope that the economic growth would improve in coming quarters. And we as a company are very well poised for benefiting from any improvement in economic growth. So we do not have any exact projection or forecast, but to say that we are extremely well poised to benefit from any improvement in economy.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining in and giving us a lot of business details. And as we're, sort of As we're winding down, just a quick final take on this. Did you actually gain or did you lose market share in the quarter? And what does your current market share stand at?
Yes, but as you know, we have a very vast portfolio of products, right from woodworking adhesive to construction chemicals to consumer adhesive to craftsman adhesive. We have a very wide portfolio of products, so there is no one market share figure. But I can tell you that during last quarter, there was no significant or material change in our market share across most of our categories.
All right. Thanks so much, sir, for joining in and giving us all those details. All the best for the final quarter of this fiscal and all the best for FY18 as well. Well, things looking quite good from the broader markets. One stock that's caught my eye, Force Motors. I think that should come up for you on the screen. That spiked up in the last few minutes, so I think the intraday chart should come up for you. Well, we'll slip into a short break, come back, focus on our markets, answer